I wanted to share a quick list of do's and don'ts for helping your loved ones deal with loss. Let's start off with the do's. One of the first things you should do is show up. During a time of loss, your loved ones need support. And one of the best ways for you to show support is to touch them, to hug their neck, to be present, to show up. Even if they may not want to talk to you, just go show up and hug their neck and just say, hey, I'm here for you. I wanted you to know, and be present. That's always what people need. Don't overstay your welcome. Just go hug their neck and be present. Number two, mean what you say. Right? One of the things that my mother and my father taught me was to say what you mean what you say. During this particular moment in time when somebody's lost someone, it's imperative that you honor your word. And if you say to people, oh, I'm here for you, and call me if you need anything, right? That's a very common trope that people say, oh, call me if you need something. And then the moment you call, oh, I'm busy, or I got this, or I got that. No, no, not in this particular moment, not in this moment of loss. In this moment of loss, if you're going to say to somebody, call me if you need me, then you better be prepared to drop what you're doing and be present for that person. So say what you mean what you say. And then I think the last thing is just to own your title. If your title is cousin, brother, friend, family member, those titles come with duties and responsibilities. Part of your responsibility is to love and to nurture and support and encourage and hold accountable and be responsible. And so, in a moment of grief, that's what people need. They need to know who they can depend on, who's going to be accountable for them, who's going to hold them responsible, who's going to be there for them. This is not common sense. That's why I'm making this content, because this is not common. This is stuff that you have to learn how to do and accept responsibility for doing. Show up, mean what you say, and say what you mean, and own your title as a friend or a family member in that moment in time. Things that you shouldn't do, the don'ts. What are the don'ts? Don't try to be inspirational. Don't preach to people. If a person is going to have a crisis of faith, guess when it's going to happen? It's going to happen when they lose somebody that they love. It's going to happen in that moment. They're going to question. And one of the first stages of grief is anger, right? It's disbelief. God, why is this happening to me? God, why did you do this to me? So don't preach. Don't try to be inspirational. Say less. You don't have to try to heal that person in a moment. Just call them and say to them, I heard about what happened, and I am concerned about you, and I send my deepest sympathies and condolences. I love you. I'm here for you. That's it. That's all you need to say. You don't have to know what to say. You don't have to try and fix it for them in that moment. Just shut up and say less. Second thing you don't want to say and you don't want to do when someone loses someone is to ask rhetorical questions. What's a rhetorical question? A question you already know the answer to. So don't call somebody and say, hey, how you doing? Really? Really? You know how they're doing. They're moving through the damn grief process. They're dealing with disbelief. They're dealing with anger. They're dealing with bargaining, with depression. They're angry right now. So don't call somebody who just lost a loved one and ask them, how you doing? How the hell you think they doing? So, as you can see, I'm triggered just talking about it. Don't ask rhetorical questions. Call, relay your sympathies and your condolences, and keep it moving. And the third thing I think is not helpful is to tell people time heals all wounds. It doesn't. What heals your wounds is an individual taking responsibility for their emotional mindset and moving themselves through the grief process to acceptance, right? It's disbelief, anger, bargaining, depression, and eventually acceptance. So the faster you can move yourself through that grief process, the better you're going to get to, the quicker you're going to get to acceptance and move on with your life. Time doesn't do that. It could take you a week to do that. It could take you a month to do that. It could take you a year to do it. It could take you your whole life to move through the grief process. That's not helpful. But again, you're responsible. I'm responsible for my emotional wellness. And I have to take responsibility for how I deal with life. I have to develop the coping skills to deal with life. And so what I've just laid out to you are some do's and some don'ts to help your family members deal with the grief process and deal with loss. What do you think?